What's good, everybody? I wanted to come on this afternoon and talk a little bit about a topic that's been on everybody's mind as of late. And that is, of course, should the Washington Redskins use their number one pick this year on a quarterback? Now, while we have plenty of time to go over draft picks and player breakdowns and who fits the system the best, I kind of wanted to get out ahead of the situation and kind of take a look at what quarterbacks are really out there this year, as far as right off the top of the bat, and looking at guys that I like, I should say, and maybe taking a look at their numbers in college and maybe look just a kind of a brief glance and seeing what each guy brings. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to fanspeak.com. They're actually officially our first sponsor here on Rated R Radio. And guys, I'm gonna have to tell you that their on the clock mock draft simulator is a pretty cool tool. I use it all the time. I've used it for, I guess it's been the past 3 years, I believe. And I live by it come draft time, as far as to looking at who is going to be available maybe each round. And, you know, obviously there's no 100% guarantee when you get into all those players getting drafted in 7 different rounds and 32 different teams. But it's a fun tool. It allows you a chance to kind of gauge who your team may have a shot at. Of course, you know, the big boards change weekly, and they've got actually a few big boards now. They've upgraded the simulator quite a bit the last couple of years. It's good to have them on as a sponsor, and pretty good buddies with the guy that owns it. And shout out to Fanspeak again. I'm going to link the simulator in the description box. They also got like a general manager type simulator as well. But anyway, moving on to what I'm looking at. As you'll see right here, the Redskins, and then you look at, you know, there's our picks, and then looking at quarterbacks available. And in the first round, there should be probably, before it's all said and done, 4 quarterbacks drafted. I'm thinking maybe just 3. Right now, you know, these rankings are not a lot to really gauge, you know, your life on, because we haven't had the combine yet. We've got months of time in between where we're actually at now and where we'll be come draft day. And quarterbacks tend to shoot up the list after the combine, and maybe like the week or two before the draft. They tend to shoot up the board a lot. And I have no doubt in my mind that there is a team out there that's looking for a quarterback that's going to grab one of those top 5 guys higher than what any of us are thinking right now. You know, people are kind of iffy on Kyler Murray because of his size, but I've seen a lot of NFL draft experts and a lot of writers link us to Kyler Murray. And it would actually make sense if Gruden used him the right way. And I'm not certain how that would all work out. You know, if you draft a guy like that, it's kind of an all-in approach. Do you draft a guy like that, and then you may have to fire the coach after 1 year? Because we got a lame duck coach. We're dealing with here. We're dealing with at least a lame duck year. So it's like, you know, Gruden's looking at the death sentence in D.C. if he doesn't produce in the next year. So if you bring a Kyler Murray in, you know, he gives you a burst. You know, he's a heck of a talent. You just don't know what the longevity is going to bring there because of his size and his durability. You know, outside of 4 years, is this guy really worth a high draft pick? That's the question you have to ask yourself. The talent obviously is there, but, you know, he's a little guy. You know, a lot of people like to compare him to Russell Wilson. The thing about Russell Wilson is that Russell Wilson has humongous hands. You know, and he has these gargantuan freaking calves and hamstrings and stuff. You know, he's a big guy. He's not a really tall guy. He's not big in stature, but, you know, and his features are pretty good size. And to me, I'm not ready to venture another high draft pick on a quarterback that we're not certain of. You know, I mean, if he was the last piece and we were putting it together, then I'd say, let's pull the trigger and see what it brings us. You know, if it doesn't bring us what we're looking for, we can go ahead and do it again in a couple years or whatever. But, you know, this is a situation where we kind of have to get it right. And there's other quarterbacks that are right there in that little gaggle of players in that list right there that I believe could come in and actually help more. Drew Lock is a name that has stood out, and I've been intrigued by Will Grier for a long time. You know, looking at their numbers, I mean, Lock played 4 years at Missouri. He didn't actually exactly have the best teams to ever to play with. But Grier, you know, he's shown he's got an arm, but is it going to transfer over to the NFL game? I mean, it's a lot of question marks. I've heard a lot of split opinions on Grier. A lot of people saying he's great. A lot of people saying that he's overrated. You know, I think Locke's got an arm on him. I just don't know about the maturity that he brings with him or what the other intangibles are. And to be quite honest with you, I like to see a breakdown of what these guys look like. You know, not just physically or on tape or on film, whatever you want to call it. I want to see them go through the combine. I want to see their 40 times. I want to see how these guys, you know, doing this and this and this, and then I want to see breakdowns otherwise, and then I'll look more into film. But it's as it stands right now, the guys that I got my eyes on are Daniel Jones from Duke, Drew Lock from Missouri, Will Grier from West Virginia, and Brett Rypien from Boise State. And a lot of people that haven't heard about Brett Rypien, yes, that is Mark Rypien's nephew. Now, I know that there's a whole gaggle of quarterbacks further down if you look. I know there's a lot more. There's not just the ones that I named. I'm just giving the names off the top up here of quarterbacks that, in my book, would be able to come in and actually do something for the Redskins. Now, obviously, the buzz around town is Alex Smith was spotted for the first time today since his surgery at the Wizards game, and he had a pretty substantial brace or cast, whatever you want to call it. It looks like an air cast or some sort of splint cast. It's pretty obvious he's got a lot of pins in that leg, and it did not look good. I was already dealing with the fact that I doubt that he'll start the season off. I still believe he'll be put on IR to start the year, and then possibly before the year's out be available to come back if the team decides to bring him back. It'll be interesting to see how all that works out, because the hit on the cap that he's going to give the team means the Redskins are going to sit and wait for him no matter what. They're not just going to cut him and pay him outright, because it's not going to help them at all. They're going to try to ride it out unless he retires. Now, there's a chance that he could retire, and if he does retire, there's a chance the Redskins might be able to get some sort of injury settlement out of him, where it could maybe be stretched out to 3 or 4 years, and it'll be interesting to see how that all that works out. But, you know, looking at these numbers of these guys, I mean, each of them has shown substantial ability, in my opinion. You know, the numbers with Haskins and Murray are unreal from last year. Murray's just an unbelievable athlete with the way he can rush the ball, too. If he was 2 inches taller, nobody would be questioning him at all. But, of course, since he's sitting at 5'10", people are definitely going to question him. And as I said before, I kind of want to see more behind these guys, because right now they're just numbers on a piece of paper and, you know, film that I could have watched. I like to see a more of a breakdown here. Not a lot of information is out on the internet on these guys, and, you know, I'll be honest with you, I didn't spend a lot of time watching Ohio State play football this year, or West Virginia, or Buffalo even. So I want to see more, but that's just my take on it. Let me know your opinion down in the comments. Hail to the Redskins. Peace.